currently in, and then I'll hand over the stream to you because then I gotta go walk Felipe.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries. That's
and
a dog, by the way.
my cat has decided that the S&P is short tomorrow because my cat is 1 for 1 in its trading account.
No, no, no.
So,
Ask this guy he has a dog and a cat. Ask what his dog and cat names are. I thought he was talking about gardeners.
so Felipe is my cat and Jotita. No, Felipe is my dog and Jotita is my cat.
Like what?
And my new trading indicator is that I put a piece of paper on the floor on the S&P and I put buy and sell next to it. And wherever my cat sits is what I'm going to do with the market. My cat indicated that the market was going to be short today. So I shorted the S&P and my cat is 1 for 1. Today in the evening, I also put the paper on the floor and my cat has sat on the sell, the S&P again, so I will be short the S&P
Okay.
again tomorrow, based on my cat.
Okay, that's great. Yeah,
With
go
that being
ahead.
said,
Yeah.
today I took this trade, which I got a couple of questions about. I have decided to go long Kratos Defense Security Solutions. I have bought the $30 January 16, 2026 calls. Um, the reason I bought this today was for two separate reasons. Number one, we have held support at 24.43, which is the 200-day moving average on the daily. Prior to the market opening, I sent Kevin a text message saying, because he told me he was looking at Avgo, and I told him I was looking at Kratos.
Oh yeah.
Um, it was at that very moment when I sent him that text message that Kratos suddenly popped into the session about 4%. So it's funny because I note it was very interesting to see that other people were seeing this trade. Um, the reason I took the $30 calls as opposed to anything else, and the reason that I bought so much time in it is because I am aware, and so should you, that we are gonna have more government contracts getting killed, uh, which is gonna create a lower GDP. I believe that companies like Lockheed, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, which sell overpriced equipment, are going to start to lose contracts on government contracts for some of the things that they manufacture that other companies like Kratos or Sentinel One, which is a security company, can produce. Kratos creates drones, and they create pretty powerful drones that are currently being used. Love it. And guess what? I have a year on this. I bought the contracts at $3.40, and I have no stop loss on this because it's a leap. And I think that if we start to get some more momentum in this sector, especially on the smaller defense companies, um, Kratos can easily come right back to around this 28 range. And at that point, I would start to decide what to do with that position because if it does go to 28 by like within the next month, it's probably going to target 35 at that given point, and I would be way in the money, and I would be very happy with that trade. So I'm long Kratos. Again, this is a speculative trade. I'm okay with losing my money because it's a year out. I decided to short Oxy. I took the $47 calls for March 21 or March 14. I think it was March 14. The reason I took this short was because we had a really hard time getting above the 10-day SMA on the daily, and we closed below the 50. And yeah, we were holding support at the 20. Depending on what happens with PCE tomorrow, if we do break below this 48, I do think that we come right back down to 47.59. I don't think we hold that level and we come straight back down to this 46 area that I've been the watching literally since the beginning of the month. Um, Actually, to be quite frank, the real level that I had was somewhere down here. I don't know why I moved it up there. But yeah, I would like to see Oxy break below this and then come to 46. So I have 3 weeks on those contracts. And then I also took Pfizer. This was a trade that Kevin, you took out, and I was a little hesitant to take it because we were holding support on the 10 and the 20
Yeah.
on the daily.
Uh-huh.
However, in the overnight session,
That means
I
nothing,
know it
but yeah.
doesn't count, but we did push down a little bit. I'm very curious if tomorrow we do have a push down here to that 26. If I'm not mistaken, we're in the 26 puts. Is that what we're in?
Let me see. Give me a sec. We are in the wow, 2550 puts. My bad.
Oh, 25.50s. Well, I don't know why I said 26, but well, that all coincides with that weekly pivot structure at
Yeah.
25.62. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to be careful right here at 25.87, but if we do break below these two moving averages, I mean, this is your target right here, right? That wick, and I think that would be a great trade. These are the only three trades that I'm in. I like my positions. I have time on them. I'm going to let them work. By the way, all of these trades are in my small account challenge that I'm doing by myself. I've decided that I wanted to take a very small amount of money and try to grow an options account and see how far that goes, as opposed to trading um, my full account size. More so because I don't like having the amount of money that I have in there um, for both personal reasons, because I need the money, and then secondly, I don't want to be tempted to take very large positions in this current environment. I'd rather have that money on the side so that when the opportunity to go long does present itself, I do have the free capital.
Cool. Um, did you need to leave now or?
I'm just gonna walk the dog and then I'll be right back, but I'm gonna switch screens over to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, no worries. You can end your stream. I'll bring up my trading view. What's up, Tom?
Hmm?
Oh, I thought you said something.
Oh, I thought you said.
I got an echo on your end. Alright. Let me bring up my stream. Give me just a sec. Alright. You guys should be able to see my screen here, correct? By the way, fib extensions, we have a video on it on our YouTube. Look at that. Broke all the way right to it. Fib extensions are great. You should learn it if you don't know what it is. But I'll just go over. I'll go over Pfizer. So today I was unfortunately busy, so I was not on my computer. I was on my phone. Well, actually, I was on my S9 Ultra Samsung tablet, which is absolutely amazing for trading. But this is what I was looking at on Pfizer. You know, JP does have a valid point. Indicator-wise, it's a little sketchy here, but you know, I see the fact that it broke out of this channel that it's been in, and then it rejected and it came back down. It tried breaking out again and rejected that. So that's my whole thesis for the trade. It's pretty simple. The reason why I bought actually pretty far out. Which contracts did I buy? I bought the 2550 for when? I bought it for 321. That's the whole reason why I bought far out, because I just wanted to have protection on it in case, we do try to come back out of the channel. So the unfortunate thing is we have a lot of data tomorrow. We have, let's see, let me pull it up. Give me a second. Let me change it to my screen. Alright. So you can, so you can see here. We have a lot of data tomorrow. We have personal income, personal spending, PCE, core PCE, advanced US trade balance and goods, retail inventories, wholesale inventories, and then some guy I don't really know speaking tomorrow. So there was a lot, and unfortunately, like there were a decent amount of setups, but at the same time there really wasn't. So it was pretty risky getting into anything, and I thought, okay, maybe Pfizer might be less, it won't be as heavily impacted as other sectors, so I ended up going with Pfizer puts. But this is just an overnight trade. We should pretty much by tomorrow know if this is invalidated or not, because it's in a critical spot. Either it gaps up or it gaps down. I mean, it's pretty simple there. But that's Pfizer. So I'm pretty much sure you guys are gonna ask about QQQ, NVIDIA, AMD. So I'm gonna skip QQQ and I'm gonna go over NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, of course, NVIDIA beat its earnings, did great on revenue and EPS, but even though it did extraordinary, people still wanted gigantinary. I don't know, that's just a word you can kind of use here for NVIDIA earnings. So it didn't, I think it didn't have like 80% margin that people wanted, and there's so many things you could say. Anyway, NVIDIA did gap up by a very small amount, and then after that kind of broke down here, and you can see we're all the way back to trading in 120. So this kind of leads into what we were talking about Monday, and this is exactly what we said could possibly happen on Monday, and is the most likely outcome. We did say that our opinions were NVIDIA would beat, but it's not going to beat it to the utmost expectations people wanted to, which are pretty high, because NVIDIA did really well, but people's expectations are high. As you can see, the amount of dumb posts you see on Twitter all about, I'm just going to get pissed off talking about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. But, so the question is, where does NVIDIA go from here? Technical wise, you could say it's probably going to reach 115.77. Doesn't hold that for the double bottom here on the 2 hour. You can definitely see 103.88. The next question is, why am I saying technical wise? Well, because you have the fact that data comes out tomorrow. That can change it. But then the next question is, would data be so bullish that it can change a bearish setup? I personally don't think so. But the greatest thing to do is to always react. So maybe the best thing is to not really have a clear sentiment and just see what happens on the charts tomorrow. So I guess what you'd be looking at is, we got this fib extension level here, and let's actually move this back. Oops. So let's say you don't even know fib extensions, even though I personally think you should. How are you looking at NVIDIA for tomorrow if you want to day trade it, or just look at NVIDIA for a sentiment read? Well, a very easy thing is, when a stock is very bearish, the thing I usually like doing is finding the lows that are broke below. So that would be right around here, around 125. And the thing is, I know you guys don't know too much about gamma, but where 125, there was a huge gamma wall. And if NVIDIA closed below 125, there was more likely going to be a flush to the downside, and that's exactly what happened. So I think Trump released he said the words tariff, and that kind of, the rest is history. So that just, NVIDIA kept on crumbling down. I personally think it's going to gap down tomorrow, regardless of data. I could be completely wrong, but let's say it doesn't. The key thing you want to look at is if it's going to remain below 125.05. Usually whenever something's in a bearish trend, it likes coming up and retesting this level. If it rejects it, that's usually an indication for a continuation to the downside. Now let's say on the off chance NVIDIA gaps up above here. Well, your next thing is, can it hold this level? Right? Because if it can hold this level, then it doesn't mean it's bullish, but it means it has some bullish potential. And then your next question is, will it stay above or below this previous low over here, which is around 133? If it rejects that, then the rest is history. You're probably going to get something like this. So that's the day trading perspective on it. if you want to look at it from a swing perspective, I mean, let me see this. The thing is, the market has been so oversold for too many continuous days that you would theoretically see a short-lived bounce. You could kind of say that happened today. You could say it was a dead cat bounce, but we did end up red in the end of the day. So I think, me personally, if I were to look at NVIDIA and you were to ask me what do you think is actually going to happen and forget about the day trading perspective, I think it's just NVIDIA. It's time for NVIDIA to just come down, not a lot, but to a reasonable amount. I think 106.80, that could be even achieved tomorrow, to be honest, or Monday. And then when it reaches like 106.80, you might have like some trend line that kind of lines up with it, or some moving average, and then you're probably going to get a bounce, a dead cat bounce, which is going to give some relief. And then after that, your next thing would be, okay, does it break back above this previous low or not? And then, that's how you kind of go through this. But right now, NVIDIA is bearish. You could see we're kind of in a channel here. So, what more is there to say? Right now, everything's just going to be weird. That's just, everyone thought, it's funny because everyone thought that bringing Trump in would make the markets easier, but it's not. We are going to be affected by a lot of things, additional to data and inflation and possible recession. You also have the constant news about things such as tariffs, and Doge, right? So now Doge is a factor. So, yeah. But for me and for NVIDIA, I think it's going to come down to 106.80. Now, of course, everyone asks about AMD. This is actually pretty simple in my mind. If you guys remember our AMD puts that we have, they're up a significant amount. I think they're up like 200 or close to 300%. Last time I checked, it was 150. So runners on that are great. I personally think this 91 level here is just going to be a magnet. This is a fib extension level. So I think we reach here easily. And at this point, to be honest, the funny thing was I thought AMD at 69 is a funny thought. I don't think that's funny anymore. I think that's actually something you might have to consider at this point. Because, I mean, yeah, you might get a bounce here. And, maybe over the course of a few months, you might get a creep down to 91. You might get a nice confirmation of support here. You could get a bounce up. You might retrace up to 130, right? I bet 130 is going to be a fib level. But, oh wait, my voice is breaking up? Is my voice breaking up? Is it just me, or? Yeah, can everyone else hear my voice fine, or is it actually me and breaking up? Okay. I'll keep talking. If it ends up being like this, you could just tell me. But yeah, I think even if we have a dead cat bounce, because I will be buying most likely shares here at 91 if it holds. But if not, then I'm not even going to buy. I'm just going to wait for 69. So yeah, I mean, this is what I think will happen with AMD. I think it comes down here, it bounces off, because this is very oversold. And, if you guys know about Elliott wave theory, usually a correction wave lasts three waves, and that's usually ABC. If I were to draw that out for you, so like this. So you would expect a dead cat bounce eventually. When that's going to happen, I personally think at 91, but if it breaks 91, I'm not touching this thing unless it gets back above 91 with a strong close, or it reaches 68 and bounces off that. So that's just that's me on AMD. So let's see, what else did you guys request? NVIDIA, AMD, I went over that. Okay, Tesla. Oh god.
No.
Yes.
No, please no.
Okay.
On,
this is Tesla's so easy because it's, look, all you gotta do is just realize that this was expected. and there was only one prior range really here that you'd be paying
75.
attention to. Yeah, it's around 75, and if you could extend it, you could see it's been going for a long time here. And if you were to draw a fib extension, which is I've been going according to, I think, where was it? Was it this one? Yeah, this one right here. I personally saw Tesla coming down to 252. That's what I want. I think it's going to eventually have a dead cat bounce off of this range, which is around 264 all the way down to 165. But I think it's going to creep a little bit down into this range, come to 252 or 250 in general, and kind of kick out the sellers and have a bounce after that. And the bounce you would expect would be pretty volatile, because of course you know how Tesla works here, right? A bounce that happens after a huge sell-off happens pretty strongly. Is it going to be just a complete reversal? I can't say that confidently. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. But for me, my target is 252.86. Some people are even saying like 200, which is funny. But then, your next question is, if we have a bear market, are people going to be buying Teslas or Priuses? So, I don't. I mean, I'm an Indian, so I know Indians are maybe going to go with the 2016 Prius, over a Tesla. It's just low maintenance. But yeah. So that's Tesla. I think 252. Priuses are not cheap anymore. Yeah, the new ones absolutely, and even the old ones, I guess they're going up in price. So maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah. All right. What other tickers you guys want me to look at? Because it's bridging on to 929. Let's see if there. I think there was a few that I actually. Oh. Lululemon. I talked about this I talked about this 2 weeks ago. I talked about how Eli Lilly was in this range, and I've always said over and over again that healthcare is most likely going to be a big theme in this market. And when I say theme, I'm talking about a sector that's going to be very strong, and that's exactly what the healthcare has been. And I've been talking about this. I hope someone listened to my opinion on that. Eli Lilly finally broke out of that range. It's all the way up here. I think it's already hit majority of the fib extension levels that I had previously. So I mean 933, you might get a rejection there, or you might get a rejection now, and I think you reach all-time highs on Eli Lilly. Maybe if I were to get into this, but I'm not in it, I would wait for a retracement and then a bounce off of, let's say, like a previous high. So that would be 89, 73, something like that, and you get a nice bounce of that. That's gonna maybe push it up to all-time highs. Eli Lilly is strong. It's been strong. I've been talking about how I loved selling put credit spreads on it. I have made a significant amount of profits from selling put credits. Wow. Sorry. Put credit spreads all the way back here from January. So it's been doing great. The premium, since these contracts are expensive, and IV was kind of high over here, it's just been very profitable. IV's dying down, so maybe not anymore. But yeah, Eli Lilly health sector is great. I'm short Lululemon. I mean, tell me that this doesn't look bearish to you, because it looks bearish to me. We held below the previous low multiple times on multiple daily candles, 362.16. That is multiple fails. The only time I would be bullish on Lulu is if there is a gap up and a hold above 368.36. But if not, I mean, you could see this possibly come down to 341 and 320, because right between here you've got a volume gap, right? And the shelf was all the way down here at 323. So Lululemon contracts are expensive, so maybe what you can potentially do is a debit spread. We have a video on that if you don't know what that is. So I potentially have I do have put debit spreads on Lululemon. So there's that. After what Elon is doing, who wants to buy a Tesla? Sales are down everywhere. Well, I've never had a Tesla, so I don't like. I've heard that. I mean, the quality Teslas are great, especially for people who love Teslas. Um, I mean, there's two factors to why Tesla stock is going down. One, it's the 50-80 rule. Actually, three. Two, the price was just too overextended in a short amount of time. Three, actually, there's 4 points. Three, there's a whole thing of buy the rumor, sell the news. The rumor was Trump was going to become president, and obviously Elon Musk was, a contributor to his campaign. So that was the buy the rumor part, and then the sell the news was when Trump came into office. So there's that. And four, I mean, a lot of people are not liking the fact that Elon Musk is an active part of the U.S. government. So, and obviously he runs Doge. So there's that whole thing there. So that's why Tesla is coming down. There's 4 facts to it. Let's see.
By the way,
TLT.
did you notice that
Yeah.
S&P and NASDAQ futures at 825, NASDAQ dropped like 100 points and then bounced 100 points?
Yeah, I'm not. What is that
What the
news? I
hell was that
guess.
about?
I bet it's some news. Imagine it's regarding the Epstein files. But
Not yet. They come out tomorrow.
I thought it was supposed to come out today. Crazy. But TLT, we bought leaps for it. When did we buy? I bought leaps for it. I think here, February 21st. They're up. I posted on Twitter. It hit my first target here, 92. I wanted to go to 95. Tom's been bullish on TLT for a while now. So we could see it. I want to see it pushing up to 95, and then a rejection off of there. And I bought the 85 calls for, I think like June 2026 or 2027, something like that. I could pull it up in just a second. But I mean, I'm long term. I'm personally bullish on TLT. I think this is going to be somewhere where people obviously pile their cash into if they're hesitant about what's going on everywhere. Yeah, so I personally have the January 16, 2026 85 calls. So they're in the money, which obviously makes it a little, expensive, but it gives a little bit of a security blanket. So that's me with TLT. Is there anything long term I want to talk about? Oh, Monday we talked about the safe havens. Please keep an eye. Let me rephrase that. I would really keep an eye out on those sectors. We talked about Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Walmart, Kroger's, waste management. Another one that I forgot to mention was storage units. Storage units are something that you might want to potentially consider because, yes, of course, it is going to be impacted in a recession. But here's the thing, it's lower beta. And in the past market crashes, yes, of course, it did lose in price, but it did not lose as much compared to other stocks, right? Such as Apple, Microsoft, and stuff like that. The higher beta stocks lost 70 to 80% of their price, well, depending on what stock you're looking at. And something such as low beta, such as PSA, EXPR, or EXR, Cube, these are considered lower beta. And the thing is, they do provide dividends. So even though they're not the biggest dividends, they usually lie around, I think, like 3 to 7%. I think PSA has, PSA is 3.94, and I think NSA has 5.89, so it kind of increases here in dividends. But storage units are usually considered somewhat safer. They're considered safe havens. You could see here, in 2018, 2016, this is when it came down, retraced all the way 44%. In 2022, it retraced down to 44%, and during the 2008 market crash, it retraced only, I think, like 50 something, 61. So that one was a little bit higher. So if you were to compare the other stocks, the higher beta stocks compared to these perform better, especially with the dividends that they pay out. That's why, for example, money floods towards Coca-Cola in recessions because, yes, of course, during a recession, these things are going to get hit. But the thing is, you would expect the market to rebound after the recession is over. So the quote-unquote benefits to these lower beta stocks is that they provide dividends. And the thing is, usually the lower the price goes, for a consistent amount of time, these companies start increasing their dividends a little bit by little bit. And eventually, let's say you're still holding these positions, the safe havens, after the market recession is over, theoretically, the prices of these stocks would go back higher from where you bought it previously. That's the theory behind it. So it's something you might want to consider. That's, again, up to your risk and what you want to do. So safe havens, in my opinion, are storage units. Waste management, JP loves that stock, right? That's WM. Waste management, because who's gonna stop paying their waste management bills during a recession or any other point, right? Not really gonna happen. So yeah, waste management, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. What else? I like Kroger's personally. Target is not a safe haven. Someone asked this earlier, and I'm glad they asked it. Adrian asked it. Is Target considered a safe haven? It is not, because the fundamentals just aren't that great compared to Walmart. So Target is not considered a safe haven. Apple might be something you want to consider. And I guess we'll end it with this, because I don't think we're getting any other tickers, are we? Okay, so we have one more question. I'll answer that. But if you have long-term portfolios, your risk, what you're gonna do is all up to you. I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Boomers have the most amount of money for a reason, and when a recession hits, the boomers are going to be the one that's going to dictate where the safe havens are. And you think they're going to go to higher beta stocks? No, they're not going to. They're very passive with their money. They're not going to go from, let's say, NVDA to Meta. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to go to the boring stuff. They're going to go from NVIDIA to Coca-Cola, from Meta to Pepsi, from Shopify to Walmart, from, I don't know, Palantir to PSA or WM. So maybe the question what you want to be asking, which I'm asking myself, is where would boomers who have a lot of money put their money, right? It's not going to be in the things that have more risk, which of course could rebound if you have a very solid company, but you're also just exposing yourself to so much drawdown. It just, in my opinion, does not make sense. So maybe that's a question you want to ask yourself, right? Where would the boomers go and put their money? And the thing is, it's not hard to figure that out, because you guys have so many resources compared to what JP had, what I had. You have, if you guys use Grok, there's Grok, there's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, all these things, even though they're cliche, is because the reason it's cliche is because people use it for the dumbest reasons. You use it for the right reasons. You have an ability to make research when it comes to trading, not 100% guaranteed accurate, but you have an edge compared to people even 3 years ago. So you can potentially get a lot more research done, and all the questions you have, you can ask ChatGPT or whatever you look at. You just have to be very detailed with it. You can't just ask, how does QQQ act in a recession? No, you don't ask that. You would ask very specific details, such as, let's say a bear market or recession hits, how does QQQ and the stocks that are inside the NASDAQ react to a recession? Are there any stocks in the NASDAQ that have performed well during a recession? Is the NASDAQ a riskier ETF compared to the S&P 500 during a recession? Is the Russell 2000 is the Russell a safer index compared to S&P 500 or the NASDAQ? Is the Dow a safer? Like, you have to search these up, and then you can go ahead and see, okay, all right, let's say it says, I'm just shooting one out here because my brain can't think. Let's say it says the Dow is a safer bet. All right, in the Dow, what are the stocks listed? You can ask that. Okay, in the stocks that are listed, what are historically stocks that have performed well not well, but at least okay in a recession. You know, what have lost not too much value. There's so many things you guys can do if you just open up your mind away from just your intraday trades. So there's a lot of stuff out there. I fully believe the fact that you're here just shows that you guys have the commitment to learn. So you just have to put a little bit more commitment into it. But I'm gonna just answer the last question here, and I think we're gonna wrap it up. So someone said, after hitting your 252 target for Tesla, would you flip long? If so, what is your target and time horizon? Well, wow. You know, JP, I did not look at the monthly chart on freaking Tesla. Do you see that?
Dude, while you're talking, I'm over here. I hate to tell you, dude, but I'm just been going over the entire Batman. Like, look at the monthly chart. You're looking at Tesla? My guy, go look at the monthly chart on fucking Amazon.
Oh, wait, 1 second. Yeah, I was bearish on Amazon. Let me see where it is. You were bearish on Amazon, so was I.
I said it last week.
188 maybe. If not 176. Yeah.
Look at the monthly chart on Avgo.
Well, Avgo was a
That's a
letdown. I think
That's a,
I
that's a
don't.
clean break and close below.
Yeah, I never liked the whole fact that Batman became a thing. Just
I
because.
invented that, I think.
You
No, I didn't. I
seriously?
stole that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought I saw it on Twitter. Just because it was just too early to say Avgo was, you know, the Mag 7 is just old. I could see why, like, you know, right after earnings, but after that earnings, it's not upheld to its name. I mean, look at that. You broke out, and then it's just not done anything. And now you have a completely bearish daily chart, which has a retracement all the way up to 183 to the minimum. So, yeah. Yeah, so when it comes to Tesla here, again, I personally don't see too much reason to trade this, you know, shares wise or anything, but I mean,
You want
if
to
it
know
came,
something?
what?
I'm sorry, I wasn't talking to you. My bad.
Oh, no worries. So if it came down to 252.86, let's say it bounces off of that, my first target would probably be 324, which was the previous fib extension level, and kind of ties in with this low over here. And then my ultimate target would be 342.89. I really would be surprised if it gapped up even more above all the way to 370. You know, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, the time frame to it is, if it comes all the way down here to a very low point, the bounce up to 342 can happen in less than 2 weeks in terms of the time frame from when that bounce happens. What happened?
Your voice is breaking up.
Oh, seriously? Okay, my mic is acting up. I was just saying.
Now it's good.
Okay, I was just saying. I think I was too far away from my mic. I was just saying that if it retraces all the way to a low point, like 252.86, you might see a bounce that lasts all the way up to 342 or 324. That happens in a span of just 1 week or less, and 2 weeks or less. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think we're gonna wrap it here because we've been going on for an hour, 2 hours.
I want to talk to you about something else before we go.
Yeah.
What the hell's happening with NASDAQ?
It's just breaking down.
No, I mean just in general. Like, where are we going with this? Like, what's the reality here? Where does NASDAQ go from here?
Well, earnings didn't pan out. Reaction after earnings didn't pan out. If I was full on bearish, I think the passive target is 19,516 for NQ. And if I were to be even more bearish, I would say 15,642.
Really?
Yeah.
You
Or
see that
wait,
move
hold
now?
on. And on QQQ, I would say like 379, because that's where the 200 moving average lines up. And yeah, you know all about moving averages, so I mean, that's going to be a magnet if you break down here, and if you get the full expected bearish market. 379 is a passive target. I personally think
I
it's
don't
going to
mean
be
to interrupt, but the crypto market right now is blowing up.
in a good
What's
way or
happening with
bad
the
way.
crypto market?
Bad way.
Well, I
Is it
mean,
bad?
look at what happened to MSTR.
I know.
Oh my god, look at that weekly candle.
Yeah, I have some price targets for Bitcoin that I'm like really, like I can't believe it might go to them. Like no way.
Which is?
Uh, that's part of the Tom Premium package.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Let's see. Yeah. Well, I think XRP is down, right?
Oh yeah, everything's getting cooked.
Oh yeah, I'm glad my dad didn't buy
I keep
XRP
buying
then.
XRP like an asshole, dude.
my dad was like, we should buy XRP. And when he said it was a good idea because it went like $2 after he said it. But now it's completely down or something like that, so.
The good part about the way that this is happening right now is it's doing it in a way where it's like it. I know exactly what just happened. It faked a double bottom, you know. It faked a double bottom from yesterday market close. So everybody went long it, and it rejected. So what's good about what's happening in the crypto market is all these people that just buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, right? They're like literally losing all their money right now. So the upside to this will be that when it finally does bottom, people who are panic sellers or that kind of stuff, they're getting washed out. That's the upside here.
So break below 64,900 and you get what, 44,000?
Talking about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
What I will say, be careful of 73,000 because a lot of people were short there. There was a lot of non-believers, we'll put it that way.
All right.
And if it gets
Yeah.
50K, expect Trump to say that they're going to buy all the Bitcoin. Not kidding. Not be short at 50.
Yeah, that's just way too low. That also ties up all the way down on the weekly 200 moving average, which would be insane. Where's the... We're crossing the 200 right now on the daily. All right, I'm tired. I bet you guys are tired. I think we're gonna end it up here, wrap it up here. But it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Thanks JP and thanks Tom for coming on. Thank you guys for listening as well.
Tom, you want to hang out for a little bit or no? Or are you gonna go to bed?